So I started a blog to get down my story of my God encounter. It took me a couple years to even start to try to write it out because there's so many tangents to it. Kind of when you're communicating with this type of energy, there can be like really condensed chunks of information that come at once. So there's lots of different tangents. It's hard to write in a sequence. And there's so much that has kind of a backstory to how it fits in. After my God encounter, I tried to find other people's experiences, like maybe near-death experiences, or I don't think I looked into abductions. I didn't really feel it was that type of, it was more of a, I felt as though I created my own natural DMT, I guess. I thought perhaps I hallucinated because it was so real, and but the way that it took control of my body, the fact that I could hear it, I guess that when that's what kind of made me wonder what really happened to me with the seizures. I relate them to the situation because I'm not an epileptic. I've never had seizures in my life, and I don't really know to call them seizures the way that it just, my body seized. I wasn't convulsing or having fits, anything like this. But I call them seizures because I was seized. And there were two different occasions where I had two seizures, really big ones. And I knew about the second set, and that was after the God encounter, and the other one was a couple of, maybe a few months before. And so, at the time I didn't know about, when I had the God encounter, I didn't know this was a possibility or this could ever happen to anybody. So when I was looking into other experiences that people had, I really couldn't find anything. So I discovered seizures dealing with the temporal lobe, and then when you talk about the temporal lobe, they refer to it sometimes as the God helmet. People have hallucinations that associate with their religious upbringing, kind of what they have imprinted in their mind, as a connection to any type of religious situation, spiritual things. But it was the fact that he told me things that that I found out afterward to be true, or things that he told me that would happen that happened. I couldn't account for that as being a hallucination. And just remembering, as I tell the story again and kind of relive it, I know I can't deny what happened to me, whether anybody believes it or not. And I'm kind of fascinated that people have come to speak with spirit, who haven't had this type of event in their life. I find it fascinating that people are able to. I don't know. I think I'd be very skeptical of the signs. At this point, they're enough to where I feel secure a lot of times, but we all have our days that it's just like, is this really happening? This is crazy. So anyway, but I thought I'd share at least get this down some kind of basic format. There are things I'm going to leave out and I will get to either in a later video or once I get to writing this. So I'll kind of go through my notes and just give you an idea of it, and give me something to go off of and add on things if I need to. So it all started on one night. This was in August, beginning of August of 2011. And I don't even remember what I was doing. I was in my bedroom, and I kind of talk about this or write about this in the blog about things that had led up to the first set of seizures, and then kind of those symptoms I was dealing with when this started to come on. Like I felt my hands tingling again. And at this point I was kind of the reason I wonder about the DMT is I was dealing with my stomach ulcer, wanting to get off the meds for that, so I was changing up my diet a lot. I couldn't really do the full vegan thing, but I tried a lot of the dishes and probably didn't eat meat for a little while, but my system was very clean. I just knew exactly what was in it and how I was reacting to things. It's interesting to kind of experiment with that just to see how your system, to get a feel of how your system is different, reacts differently to different foods once it's kind of cleared. So I thought, well, maybe just my body was just kind of cleaned out and produced this. But anyway, I remember getting up and feeling it take over my body and hearing God speak. And just hearing, do you know who this is? And I remember standing there, and I didn't look around the room to see, it's not like I heard the voice, but it's not like I was just like, who is that? I just kind of stood there, and I was just like, I just kind of knew. I was just like, God. And I had no, at the moment, I had no memory of knowing God, I don't even know why I thought to say it. He's like, that's right, and his voice was so low, like what space would sound like, just all that empty space. It dark, but not dark in a bad way, but just low, very grounding and very interesting. So that's how it came to me. And anyway, so I talk about how he had control of my body. It was just kind of like I was in this vibrational cloud, and my body was moving. Feel it move, like I could feel mechanically how it was moving. But it's not like I was experiencing the weight of it, or it was more like I was run on electricity. It was that kind of resistance. Yeah, he put me in child's pose. So I'm, on my knees folded over, and it's like a screen goes on in my head. And had I used the computer as much as I do now back then, because I actually gotten rid of it shortly after that, and I wish I had used it, because I probably could have thought to record all of this that happened. But it was kind of like, just an iPad, or just like that size in my mind, but as though I was sitting here watching it with my eyes open. So anyway, very, very odd. Much different than, you just say, oh, I see a screen in my, screen behind your forehead. Nothing like that. It was very, almost as though it was tangible. So I hear him say, "This is sound. This is sound." And this red line sound wave showing me sound wave, and then it starts to form into more expanded into space, and then he's showing me the different elements, how they're represented in vibrational frequencies, and just kind of going over things that I had already come to kind of the conclusion of, and just that there are 5 elements and everything's made up of all of these things. It's just about proportion and balance of these all these basic elements. So nothing is anything foreign to you. It's all just made up of these 5 basic elements. And then there's, I kind of consider God is kind of like a 6th element. Think of him kind of like the abstract. I don't know how else to explain him. So, let's see. Right, so he's showing me the different elements. He's going over different things that are going on in the world. Like I'm seeing flashes of videos of all this futuristic stuff in the past, things that the way people feel. I see an image of something, and as an empath, I kind of feel for people. It's just like 10 times more than that, but much more impactful. And then he had said at the end of that he had thought about ending the world, but it changed his mind, and now we're reversing things rather than continuing on a cycle. You know, growing into what we are, going back down into nothing and back out again. It's going to just be continuum.